So I'm going to be reacting to a Mark Goldbridge video from his YouTube channel, That's Football, titled Please Don't Do It. On the thumbnail, it has Mark and Erik ten Hag as well. So I'm assuming that the topic that will be covered will either be Manchester United, Erik ten Hag, something related to that, or their most recent loss to Liverpool in the Premier League.
Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. It's a bit of a tradition in the international break, the first one, to look at who might be the first Premier League manager sacked.
Sure.
Well, I need a bit of help. It can't be Erik ten Hag. We've invested so much money in him this summer. Some of us fans invested so much of our time in telling Ineos to keep him. Surely you're just bantering us. Surely, if we've got any non-United fans in here, you're not saying he's going to be the first manager sacked.
So I'm going to press pause right there. You know, I am a non-United fan. I'm a Liverpool fan, so the most recent 3-0 defeat that United have brought me a lot of joy. But oftentimes, you know, just as a fan of the Prem in general, I have to look at this from more of a unbiased perspective. And yeah, sure, there's a chance that Erik ten Hag won't be the first manager sacked. Obviously, Ineos have put, you know, a lot of money into this most recent transfer window. I do think that United fans need to look at it realistically in the sense that they're expecting fairly immediate results. And when I say fairly, I mean he could be gone by Christmas. And when you look at a lot of the teams that are on the lower end of the table, traditionally, if there's a better managerial prospect out there and the team is struggling in the beginning of the season, obviously, you know, those teams, you know, you could see a manager get sacked from maybe not Forest, because I know that they have Nuno, but, you know, the likes of Ipswich, teams that will be Southampton, teams that will be on the lower end of the table. For me, I think it's more common to see that late October, November, December sacking. But from a perspective where I am not a Manchester United fan, there's a chance that Erik ten Hag gets sacked first. Let's be real.
Be some truth in the fact that he needs time with these new players. Ineos need to build this project. And actually, yes, we have lost 2 of our first 3, but with Southampton to come, Crystal Palace to come, surely you're expecting a turnaround from Manchester United, and by Christmas it will all be better. Tell me that's the case.
Palace isn't
because
an easy
I tell you what,
fixture,
ten Hag
though.
sacked by Christmas is certainly going to be coming true if it's on your Christmas wish list, if you listen to the bookies, because what they're saying this morning is that Erik ten Hag is 3-1 favourite with Sean Dyche to be sacked.
I could definitely see Sean Dyche getting sacked before I see Erik ten Hag getting sacked, if I'm being honest, because Everton have looked poor, and most recently, I forget who Everton played over the weekend, but they were up 2-0 and ended up losing 3-2 with like goals in the 87th minute and in stoppage time. I think that Everton, with their plans of this is the last season at Goodison, in my personal opinion, I think Sean Dyche, if he doesn't turn things around, I think that it's likely he would be the first manager sacked. But also, too, I think the expectations on Sean Dyche are a lot lower than the expectations on Erik ten Hag. Just being honest.
Managers are tended to be giving longer now. Maybe that's got a lot to do with PSR and FFP and the cost it is to sack and replace a manager. But it is worrying that Erik ten Hag has gone straight in there with Sean Dyche. I mean, Sean Dyche has lost these first 3 games, and Everton
United have lost 2 of their
but can they afford
first
to
3?
sack Sean Dyche either? But let's get into this realistically. Is Erik ten Hag being sacked going to solve Manchester United's problem? Or is it just the typical mainstream and fan reaction to the fact that you've been beaten and you've lost 2 of your first 3 games? I still think, for me, this goes back to the summer. This goes back to early June when Ineos decided to keep Erik ten Hag. There was a movement within the United fan base, certainly, and there was a wider movement exterior, certainly in the media, that ten Hag should be sacked, even though he'd won the FA Cup, he'd finished 8th in the league.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously Ineos decided to keep Erik ten Hag, but I also think if you're a United fan, you have to look at this realistically. there were not a lot of top managerial prospects out there during, this off season. And I do think that a lot of people are misinterpreting Erik ten Hag remaining in this position. I think this is his last chance, and he hasn't come off to a great start. I heard Mark say earlier that they have a good run of games going forward that they should win after the international break, but those are must-win games for Erik ten Hag, if I'm being honest.
On him, and they have a big voice. Ineos stuck with him. Ineos have spent money. The first 2 games weren't great, but there was that win against Fulham, and it was a late winner against Brighton.
And then
Liverpool
terrible.
Pulled Man United's pants down at Old Trafford and humiliated them, let's be honest. And therefore, quite rightly, whether it's Manchester United, Liverpool or Arsenal, you're going to be under pressure when you lose 2 of your first 3 games. Your manager was on the edge at the end of last season, and one of those games is at your own ground against your biggest rival. So the pressure is absolutely correct. But realistically, get in the comments. Do you think Ten Hag turns this around, or do you think he is on a fast track to sacking before Christmas?
Just the Erik ten Hag thing, I personally don't understand it. As a Liverpool fan, I want him to remain with United, and that should be telling to United fans that if a Liverpool supporter wants your manager to remain at the club, that's probably not the best thing in the world. Just being honest here. I look at a lot of United fans, from what I've seen online, have a mindset as though Erik ten Hag should remain with the club because they've invested a lot of money in the most recent transfer window, to where, a lot of United fans are like, give him time, let him work with the new additions. But this is his 3rd season. He's had 2 previous seasons to bring players in and make an impact. And he's had a few transfers that have gone okay, but he's had a few transfers as well that, in my personal opinion, the likes of Antony, can't remember if Casemiro, I believe, was under Erik ten Hag. I don't think that was Ollie. Big money moves which have not worked in United's favor. When you look at these professional clubs, obviously it's not solely down to the manager. There's a lot going on behind the scenes to make these decisions to sign these players. But at the end of the day, I look at Erik ten Hag as someone who, you watch United play, they don't even have a style of play. Them against Liverpool, a big thing with Liverpool is they have, at the very least, individual brilliance, but their structure to how they play. Manchester United, you watch them play, that's not the case. It's not the case. There's no style of play. I do believe there are players that have individual brilliance in that team. End of the day, if I was a United fan, I would want Erik ten Hag to be out the door, but that is just my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe, click that notification bell. See you guys in the next one. Peace.